Hello. A round of applause for the music department, please. They are just starting. They have many more for us in their disposal. So quickly, before we go straight into the lecture for the day, I would like to call on the representative of the Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor A.I. Akinyemi, is the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research, Innovation and Development. So before I call on the Deputy Vice Chancellor, we want to present award to be presented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor. But before that, we have to take the citation of the awardees. Citation of the awardees. After that, the Deputy Vice Chancellor will present the award. Mr. Gideon, please, let's have you.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm standing on the existing protocol. I'd like to crave the indulgence of Chief Richard Hayodele Akintude to stand to his feet as I read his citation. Can we give him a round of applause? All right. I want us to pay attention as I read his citation. Chief Richard Hayodele Akintude's SAN was born on the 4th of November, 1964 in Montreal, Canada, to Pa Josiah Holanekbekon Akintunde, now late, and Mrs. Florence Osheyemi Akintunde. He is a descendant of the late Pa Daniel Akintunde family of Okegbogi, axis of Ondo City in Ondo State, Nigeria. Richard Akintunde Ayodele Akintude SAN obtained his LLB with honors from the University of Ife, now Obafemi University, in 1984, and was called to the bar in 1985. Since 1985, he has been in active legal practice and has amassed considerable experience and expertise in civil, commercial, and criminal litigation, transaction advisory, real estate, insolvency, and arbitration. Over the years, he has advised and represented numerous individuals, corporate bodies, state governments, foreign governments in his area of practice. He is currently a senior partner in the law firm of Hayodele Akintude & Co., founded in 1988, a full-service law firm with offices in Lagos and Abuja, Nigeria, where he heads the litigation and our alternative dispute resolution unit. Can we put our hands together for him? Thank you. Richard Hayodele Akintude SAN has written several scholarly articles and publications in local and international journals and has presented papers at conferences, seminars, and workshops. This includes insolvency and arbitration on easy bedfellows, when arbitration and insolvency collide, global warming and the environment, a challenge for lawyers in Africa. Can the right to apply to set aside an award be waived into Nigerian's law? Professional ethics in insolvency practice, adequate compensation for victims of crime, making victims of crime important again, recovery and restructuring your business in difficult times, multi-stakeholder negotiations, principles and application, and pitfalls in her award writing in arbitration. In 2016, he was elevated to the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The highest and most prestigious legal title awarded to legal practitioners who have distinguished themselves professionally in Nigeria. He is a chartered arbitrator, fellow of the Chartered Institute of Fellow of Business Recovery and Insolvency Practitioners Association of Nigeria. Richard Hayodele Akintude SAN is the past president 2021 to 2023 of the Business Recovery and Insolvency Practitioners Association of Nigeria, the largest body of insolvency and bankruptcy practitioners. INSOL International, the largest worldwide association of accountants and lawyers who specialize in turnaround and insolvency. He is also the ICC FraudNet member for Nigeria ICC FraudNet is a worldwide network of lawyers who specialize in fraud, international asset tracing, and recovery. Richard Hayodele Akintude Hesehen led the legal team that drafted the land use charge law of Lagos State, which reformed the collection of property taxes in Lagos State. The law has since been adopted by numerous states in Nigeria to increase their internally generated revenue, IGR. Richard was also a member of the committee that midwifed the Arbitration and Mediation Act of 2023, which reformed Nigeria's arbitration and mediation framework, all right, to meet international best practices. He regularly sits as a sole arbitrator, party appointed arbitrator, and presiding arbitrator in many large and complex arbitrations. Can we put our hands together? Richard Ayodele Akintude Hesehen has handled several landmark and notable cases, such as FRN versus Osahan on the prosecutorial powers of police officers in context of Federal High Court, Abake versus Nigeria Deposit Insurance Company, which held that once a provisional liquidation is appointed for a company, no action or proceeding shall be proceeded with or commenced against the complaint except by the leave of the court given on such terms on the court as the court may impose. Atoju versus Triumph Bank PLC on what constitutes a dispute for purpose of reference to arbitration, and Lewis versus UBA, which held that an employee's obligation to repay staff loan survives the termination of the employment, even in the case of constructive dismissal. Now, let me read the last paragraph here. Richard Ayodele Akintude Hesehen is the co-founder of the Nyolua and Abegbe Foundation, a non-profit organization which helps indigent people in the society. He is an avid golfer, a tennis player, a swimmer, and a biker. He is the second Nigerian to be certified by the Iron Butt Association as the world's toughest motorcycle rider for riding his BMW R1250 GS motorcycle. He is married to his darling wife. Can we appreciate his wife? He's married to his darling wife, Oluwatoyin Abegbe Akintude, and they are blessed with a son. Can we put our hands together for
Thank you. I tried to Google you, sir, and I think even the what they present is not fair. It's far more than that. Please come, Mr. Madam. Please, let's clap for her, please. The dean of the faculty, please come. HOD, please come. Congratulations, sir. Yes, sir. I will decorate you. I want the dean to decorate, madam. Thank you so much for all of your support. Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, let's clap for her, please. Please move close. Yes. Congratulations. HOD, please. Sorry that we really have to cut short the citation. So this award of excellence is presented by the Department of Political Science of Obafemi Law University, and I'm here to represent the VC to endorse it. For your legacy impact and your dedication to public service. So it's an award of that. Presented to Chief Richard Ayodele Akintude, S.A.N., the Bar Mufin of Ondo Kingdom, today, 29 June 2026. Congratulations, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Kabiyesi, sir, please permit me to request, with the grant permission of this honorable house, to request that Kabiyesi please stand. Sorry, sir. So with the grant permission of this honorable house, I will proceed to read the citation of Alayelua Oba Dr. Adedokun Omoniyi Abolarin, Aroyinkeye 1, the Orangun of Okeila Orangun. And please permit me, I'll just read the brief version. Oba Adedokun Abolarin, a political scientist with a master's degree in international relations from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. Also, a law graduate from the same university, taught political science for 10 years, 1981 to 1990. He has a good and varied background in government services, having served as a board member of Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, 1991 to 1993. Also as a special advisor to the Senate President on legal matters between December 6, 2000 and June 2003. And variously legal consultant to many committees of the Senate, and most especially the Senate Majority Leader 2003 to 2006. Since ascending the throne as the Orangun of Okeila in 2006, he has concentrated on improving the governance at the grassroots level and educating the people. Despite the numerous tasks of governance, he is actively involved in promoting knowledge management through regular public and academic lecture. Presently, Alayelua Oba Dr. Adedokun Abolarin, the Orangun of Okeila, is the founder and chairman of a foundation, Orangun Abolarin Aroyinkeye Foundation, OAAF. The foundation is the proprietor of the Abolarin College, Okeila, Orangun. The school commenced operation with 35 students and presently have more than 150 students. The school is a non-fee paying college and a full boarding school. The college is established to promote community and rural development, tutoring and mentoring the creation of youth empowered to serve. The vision of the college is anchored on Isaiah 58 verse 12. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places and build foundation for many generations. And thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach and the restorer of the path to dwell in. Ladies and gentlemen, with a sound ovation, please permit me to introduce Oba Alayelua Dr. Adedokun Omoniyi Abolarin.
Kabiyesi, it's a big honor for me to come and represent the VC today to decorate you. Please, let's have our seat, please. There are few people that choose to be the father to fatherless, to be the helper to those who are helpless. Thank you for choosing this path. The Lord will continue to honor you. You whispered something to me the other time. I can tell you, if you close your eyes and see, it will be far better than that, by the grace of God. There's a big honor. Dean, HOD, please join me. Kabiyesi's classmates should also come. You know yourselves. Department of Political Science, Faculty of Social Sciences, Obafemi Awolowo University, and I'm here to represent the VC to endorse this award. The award of legacy impact and public service presented to His Royal Majesty Oba Dr. Adedokun Abolani, the Orangun of Okeila Orogun, presented today, 29th June 2026. Congratulations, sir.
Please, a round of applause for ourselves. Now we are moving to the next phase of our discussion here. And we have done introductions, we have celebrated people, we have given awards. It's about time for us to delve into the matter of the day, the moments we all have been waiting for, the moments where we are going to hear our guest lecturer speak on the topic, the crisis of governance and the burden of leadership. We're imagining the role of political scientists in contemporary Nigeria. But before we bring our guest lecturer to the microphone for him to deliver his lecture, it is imperative for us to read his citation, but I'll not be the one to read it. I'm going to call on a respected lecturer that I know of, someone who has at numerous times delivered positivity for the department, faculty, and the school at large. Please join me as I welcome to the microphone to read the citation of our guest lecturer. With a round of applause, Professor Kolawole Aliyu. Please keep clapping until Professor Aliyu gets here. We'll be taking the citation of the guest lecturer when we dive into the lecture proper.
Thank you so much. I want to appreciate everyone. May I respectfully seek the indulgence of Professor Alade Fawole to be upstanding while I read his citation. Thank you, sir. W. Alade Fawole, Professor International Relations, is a graduate of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, from where he obtained a bachelor degree in political science and a master of science in international relations, respectively. He attended the George Washington University, Washington, D.C., United States of America, for his Masters of Philosophy and Doctor of Philosophy degrees in political science, specializing in the field of international relations. He was a lecturer for 4 decades at the University of Ife, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, from 1983 until he retired in 2024. During his career, he has served the university in various capacities as head, Department of International Relations, 2006 to 2008, member of Senate, 2003 to 2024, Dean, Faculty of Administration, 2008 to 2010, member Governing Council, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, 2003 to 2007. He was at different times visiting lecturer and visiting professor of the universities of Ibadan, Osun State University Osogbo, Bowen University Iwo, associate lecturer, Confidence University Ota, external examiners in various universities in Nigeria, as well as University of Ghana, Legon, Accra, and the Legan Center for International Africans and Diplomacy, Legan, Accra. He was a visiting research fellow at the African Studies Center, University of Leiden, Netherlands, resource person and editor, Council for the Development of Social Science Research in Africa, CODESTRA, Dakar in Senegal. He also served as a member of the governing board of the Administrative Staff College, HASCON, Badagry. As a member of several national and international academic bodies, he has attended numerous academic conferences, seminars, and workshops at home and in different countries in Africa, Europe, and the Middle East, and delivers scholarly lectures at many of Nigeria's prestigious universities and institutions, as the National Defense College, Abuja, Nigeria's highest military institution, the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS Kuru, Jos, the National Institute of Security Studies, Abuja. He has, to his credit, 4 major textbooks, 4 research monographs, 6 co-edited books for the Society for International Relations Awareness, and over 70 journal articles and book chapters in reputable outlets at home and abroad. He is a fearless public intellectual, a regular contributor to critical debate on national and international affairs, with over 400 newspaper articles in national newspaper and magazine to his credit. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you this afternoon Professor Alade Fawole, the guest lecturer for today's annual lecture. You are welcome.
Kábíyèsí, the Ọ̀ràngún of Òkèlá, Ọba Adòkun Abọ́lárìn, I recognize your majestic presence, and I thank you for always finding time for intellectual activities. Well, from the little that was read about you, it is evident to everybody that Ọba Adòkun Abọ́lárìn is one of the most highly educated, perspective scholars, and most cerebral of kings in Nigeria. I want to thank the Vice Chancellor, and ably represented by Professor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, forgive me. And I won't say all other protocols observed, they're not, because in diplomacy we don't do that. I just stand on the existing protocols. I want to thank, if you will help me change it. Oh, by the way, I retired from Obafemi Awolowo University 2 years and some months ago. I'm currently a lecturer at the Department of History and International Studies, University of Ilesha. So I have to advertise my current institutional affiliation. I want to thank the Department of Political Science, Obafemi Awolowo University, for giving me this rare privilege. It's a rare privilege in the sense that this is the first ever such lecture in the history of the department. And so it is a privilege for me, a very rare one, to be the first person to give this lecture. Usually I always do not appreciate elaborate introductions, because I think that today is supposed to be for Akintunde, but since they insisted on reading some things, I hope that I will be able to justify your expectations, having eulogized me so much. Now, today's topic is understanding, the main topic is the crisis of governance and the burden of leadership, reimagining the role of political scientists in contemporary Nigeria. And I'm going to give the lecture as the title given to me. First, I want to talk about understanding Nigeria's governance crisis. Because this is a limited time, I will not be able to go through everything. But permit me to say that it is well known to all that our country is in the throes of critical governance crisis at all levels, the kind that challenges both the stability and survivability of the Nigerian state. We have problems of burgeoning domestic insecurity across the length and breadth of the country. No area is exempted. And to regale you with just a few of these instances, what began as a mere sectarian violence in Maiduguri has, over the past decade and a half, metastasized into full-blown domestic terrorism with serial bombings all over the northeast corner of Nigeria, and then into the federal capital, Abuja, with destructive attacks on the United Nations building, and especially the Nigeria Police Headquarters in the national capital, among others. It then morphed into insurgency when Boko Haram began taking territories in the northeast zone of the country, at a particular point controlling no fewer than 14 local government areas over which they had repudiated the sovereignty of the Nigerian state, running their own government, levying and collecting taxes, enforcing their own form of justice, among others. And it has for years now transformed into full-blown transnational insurgency, having spread its tentacles into the neighboring countries of Cameroon, Chad, and Niger Republic. Now, let me just explain a little. When we talk about Boko Haram, we need to look at the trajectory. It has metamorphosed, metastasized from one to another. First, it began as sectarian violence. Then it morphed into domestic terrorism. And then it morphed from domestic terrorism into domestic insurgency. Insurgency and terrorism are related, but they are not the same thing. You can have terrorism without insurgency, but you cannot have insurgency without terrorism. Insurgency means that whatever the terrorist group started with, they have changed focus into now taking territories, putting their own government authorities on the territories of the country that they are taking. And so at a point in the northeastern part of Nigeria, they started taking territories. In fact, the governor of Borno State at one point in time lamented that no fewer than 14 of the local government in the state were under Boko Haram, not Nigerian authority. That is domestic insurgency. Then the thing crossed over the boundary into northern part of Cameroon, into the central part of Chad, and then to the southern part, the southeastern part of Niger Republic, making it a transnational activity. It has already become a transboundary injury to our neighboring countries. That is the point that I'm making. That is one of the challenges that we have had. Then secondly, kidnapping of expatriate oil workers, which initially began in the oil-bearing Niger Delta for the express political purpose of compelling the Nigerian state and the multinational oil corporations to address environmental despoliation and political neglect, has also since metastasized into booming national criminal business enterprise, where millions of naira are demanded and extracted for the freedom of abducted persons. So also has banditry become a nationwide menace, and no one is safe from it anymore. What makes all this concerning is the apparent inability of the state, that's the Nigerian state, and the security and defense apparatchiki to cope with the burgeoning insecurity. Nigerians daily lament the failure of the state to fulfill its obligations to them. In the 1999 Constitution, and I quote, "The security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government." Many people are lamenting that the state has not been able to fulfill that obligations to them, because when something started in a little corner of Nigeria, the entire country has now been engulfed by banditry, kidnapping, all kinds of violence, and just name it. Okay? But I must emphasize that while most commentators and analysts focus solely on the federal government failures, because it alone controls all the military, police, security, and intelligence paraphernalia of the Nigerian state for ensuring security and protection for citizens, there is no doubt that governance failures permeate all levels of governance at the state, local government, and even traditional authority levels as well. Yeah, we talk about traditional authorities because Kabiyesi can enlighten us. The traditional rulers have their own authority structures for dealing with security and insecurity in their domains. Okay? Our crisis of governance inheres, in my view, in our uncritical adoption, what and all, of the liberal democratic system of governance, as well as wholesale plagiarism of the American-type executive presidential system with all its congenital defects and structural and systemic inadequacies. Now, I'm going to make some fundamentally controversial statements. I don't expect you to agree with me. One of the beauties of studying political science is that we may have different views and different conclusions over certain issues. I'm saying that the current governance challenges we have is not just the failure of the human beings that are running the system at any level. The system that we are running is fundamentally defective. So no matter who runs it, the defects will always manifest. The defects will always catch up with you. In my submission, actually the defects are congenital. They are built as part of liberal democratic system. Permit me to furnish a brief explication of this bold and rather controversial assertion. Liberal democracy as a system for governing society may appear theoretically sound, but it is also fundamentally and congenitally defective in a number of critical regards. Among the most prominent faults of liberal democracy is that it does not allow for the choice of the best qualified or the wisest people to govern any nation. It only allows the most popular ones to be selected in a zero-sum popularity contest, which is defective, because if we choose people on the basis of their eloquence, on the basis of the way they appear to us, that does not mean that we're choosing the best people that can run a society. Early philosophers and thinkers apprehended this situation, and they knew it that, look, if you will not give the captaincy of a big ocean-going ship to the most popular person, why would you give the running of a nation to the most popular person? And let me bring you to this reality. If you look at the Nigerian Constitution, fortunately we have senior advocate of Nigeria here to also enlighten us on the Constitution. My reading of the Nigerian Constitution is that there are only two major qualifications to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. One is that you must be a Nigerian, full-blooded Nigerian. The second one is that, a full-blooded Nigerian, I think not below the age of 35. And then the second one is that you have gone through secondary school. I'm not sure it says whether you pass or not, okay? And if you have both, you are qualified to contest to be president, to be president of Nigeria. And that's why we have seen since 1999 a whole bunch of sometimes young people, I'm not trying to deride them, who just woke up one morning without any experience of having worked in local government, in anywhere in the public sector before, just woke up one morning because you're very popular on the social media, and they say, I want to be president of Nigeria. Now, let's look at it. To be vice chancellor of this university, or any university for that matter, you must have a string of degrees and qualifications, a number of publications, a number of administrative experience in different areas before you become a professor and before you are qualified to become vice chancellor. And vice chancellors work under a president that probably has only a school cert. Where else does that happen except in a liberal democracy? Where else do you expect somebody working for government to become permanent secretary? He must have degrees, other qualifications, a lot of years, not less than 2.5 decades experience before you rise to become permanent secretary. But somebody can wake up one morning and say, I want to be president today. And if he's popular enough, such a person will become president or governor. How do you think he will run the affairs of the state? And somebody asked, do you choose the pilot of an airplane based on whether he's handsome, good looking or not, or whether he's well spoken or whether he's popular? But you will not do that. You will choose somebody who already has the pilot license, so many hours of flight training and experiences before he's allowed to fly people. But then to fly a whole nation of 230-something million people, you can elect just anybody because he's popular. Think about it. It's part of the fundamental problems of governance in Nigeria. It's part of the crisis of governance. Okay? How come ministries are well run? How come universities are well run? I'm not saying they are perfect, but they are run according to rules and regulations. Okay? And the people that run them have the experience. Now, early Greek thinkers and philosophers saw this anomaly even from the Athenian provenance, and they famously describe it as mob rule, majority tyranny, where uninformed and ill-informed majority exercise the power to decide who governs and how they govern. The people that mostly get elected are those with some popularity, eloquence to mesmerize the electorate, and who are backed by a group called the selectorate. Look, I can almost bet that in the coming presidential election, well, there's an election in Osun State in 2 months' time, I guess. More than half of the people in this hall will never vote. But you are part of the most intelligent and educated and experienced people. But you are going to have the mob outside decide who is going to govern us. And so just ask yourself the simple question: how do you think they are going to govern us? Election contestations are equivalents of warfare, suffused with violence and bloodletting, where every type of weapon is employed. Courts of law, rather than the electorate, are often the final arbiters and deciders of electoral outcomes. And democracy says it's government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But it's the courts that we now resort to, which shouldn't be the case. Whatever it is that happened to us selecting our own leaders, I don't want to talk about it. Elected governments, once they are elected into government, are unresponsive to popular aspirations because they are run by oligarchs that bankroll the elections. The people that vote in elections are not the ones controlling the government. It is the big men that have money. And it is members of the selectorate, political entrepreneurs, that run government. You remember a few years ago, there was somebody in Ibadan called the garrison commander of Ibadan Politricks, and you have to listen to him. He took up issues with an elected governor of the state over, I think they call it security vote, that he was entitled to a chunk of the security vote, and because he wasn't getting it, they violently removed the governor. They claim to have impeached him, but look, thugs invaded the House of Assembly. Somebody took the microphone and said, banged something and said the governor is impeached. And that's the end of the story. So who controls the government? Keep thinking about it. That's why I say I will make controversial statements, and I don't expect you to agree with me. But this is political science. Courts of law themselves mostly deliver only judgments rather than justice. You have money, you can get things done. Even if you don't want justice or judgment, you can hire a battery of senior advocates of Nigeria and tie up the case. And the case, you take one case inside one case. Look, here in Osun State, many of you were not especially interested. But for the rest of us who are here in Osun State for the last 2.5 decades of democracy, there was somebody who was supposedly elected in a rigged election to become governor. The cases went to tribunal, from one tribunal to another, to the appeal, they went back and things like that. The person ended up occupying illegally and illegitimately the governorship of Osun State for 3.5 years before the court finally said somebody else won. How democratic is that? Okay? So, violence and general insecurity have become intractable. The security and welfare of the mass of the people, as I said, which is contained in the 1999 Constitution, that the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government, receives only casual or scanty attention. Opposition political parties and their candidates fight unrelenting rearguard wars against winners for the sole purpose of distracting winners and incumbent governments from being able to focus on actual governance. These are a few of the debilitating characteristics of liberal democratic system that we have been practicing since 1999. A system that is fundamentally rigged against rationality and performance. Let me give you an example. In the last 10 years, Britain has had a parade of some of the most horrible and disastrous prime ministers. 6 of them in the space of 10 years. And nothing improved in the British governance systems or economy in those 10 years. In the same period, China has had only one leader. I'm not recommending any system to us, okay? So let nobody say, yeah, if I only think it's Chinese. China has had only one leader. But there is something to be said about that. And that is the fact that within those 10 years, China was able to map out 5, 10, 15, 20, 25-year development plans. And they have been systematically implementing them. How do you think that China was able to leapfrog over many states to become the second largest economy in the world today? Think about it, okay? Even if we choose for a moment to ignore the gross non-performance of liberal democracy at the domestic level, it is also clear that the nation's governance crisis reflects in Nigeria's external relations and foreign policy. At both the continental and global levels, Nigeria's once vibrant foreign policy has been systematically on the wane for the past 1 decade. The country has been punching below its weight as the most populous and preeminent continental economic powerhouse. Nigeria used to be the reference point. Under Nigeria's leadership, for example, the Economic Community of West African States, a regional body of 16 countries that Nigeria worked seriously from the end of the Civil War in 1970 up till it was established in May 1975. Under Nigeria's leadership, that ECOWAS has badly fractured, with 3 of its founding member states angrily storming out of the regional bloc to form their own separate 3-member, what they call Alliance des États du Sahel, Alliance of Sahel States. Now I want to talk about leadership body. Here is another controversial issue. So if you put democracy on one side, leadership body, the burden of leadership, the burden of leading Nigeria. Let's be honest in our analysis. Nigeria is an incredibly complex state to govern, even for the most sagacious of men and women. Very few, if any other country in the world, can boast of Nigeria's multifaceted complexity. I wish they would bring this in back because I want to show you some pictures. Can we have this thing back, please? I need to show you these pictures just to demonstrate the point that I'm making. This complexity is one critical and indubitable reality that receives usually very casual treatment, most often overlooked by a lot of Nigerian scholars and commentators, and political scientists are guilty of this too, okay? Instead of factoring this complexity into their analysis, they make inadequate and sometimes gratuitous comparisons and employ false equivalencies when analyzing the Nigerian reality and governance. And somebody will tell you, oh yeah, you know, If you look at Singapore, Singapore is a tiny city-state. Singapore's population is more than 70% Chinese. And so when you have such a dominant ethnic population, it can do things. There is no dominant ethnic group in Nigeria. We have a number of large ethnic groups domiciled in certain geopolitical zones. You know them, the Yoruba in the southwest, the Igbo in the southeast, the Ijaw and others in the south-south, the Hausa, the Fulani, and all of them. None of these groups is nationally dominant. It's part of the complexity of the Nigerian state. Okay? And so, reality check. Nigeria is what I have described elsewhere as a conglomerate society, a complex patchwork of over 300 mutually competitive ethno-nationalities that were cobbled together for predatory resource extraction by colonial fiat, with deliberately constructed fault lines that continually vitiate every attempt at attaining national unity. The Nigerian fault lines, they are there, they are visible. Nobody has been able to erase them. Political scientist, Professor James S. Coleman, correctly asserted as far back as the late 1950s in his seminal book, Nigeria, Background to Nationalism, which was published 2 years before Nigeria's independence. And he said that Britain, Nigeria's colonial power, had no intention whatsoever, and I quote him. Please advance this thing forward. Forward. Yeah, this is a quotation from James Coleman. Okay? According to him, Britain had no intention to create an independent Nigerian nation when it established its boundaries, when it developed common administrative system, when it constructed a common transportation grid and communications network, when it introduced a common currency, a lingua franca, and an educational system, and when it recruited a corps of Nigerian clerks and artisans who helped develop a pan-Nigerian perspective and aspirations, all were simply requisite to the administration of an arbitrary chunk of Africa as an overseas dependency. The British had no intention. They created Nigeria, but they did not create Nigerians. If anything, one of Nigeria's earliest colonial rulers, Sir Hugh Clifford, governor of Nigeria from 1919 to 1925, flatly declared that the very idea of welding this complex multi-ethnic contraption together into what can be described as a Nigerian nation is not only impossible, it is actually a dangerous presumption. That's what he said. And so no attempt was made to weld us together. He and those who succeeded him as colonial governors of the country did not try to weld the diverse ethnic nationalities into a cohesive nation. And true to his prediction, Nigeria is still far from attaining the status of a nation. We are a country, we are a state, but definitely not a nation. When Chief Obafemi Awolowo in his first book, Path to Nigerian Freedom, which was published in 1947, asserted, and I quote him, "Nigeria is not a nation. It is a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries from those who do not," unquote. His critics and traducers remorselessly subjected into the most scurrilous flagellations ever. But the truth remains that Nigeria is, even today as we are gathered here, much more fractured than it was at independence, despite having fought a bloody civil war to keep Nigeria one, a war that claimed the lives of millions of citizens on both sides. Let's look at how divided Nigerians are on how to deal with a grave existential challenge to the Nigerian state itself, such as the pervasive insecurity unleashed on the whole nation by the Boko Haram Islamic terror groups. Just let's look at these pictures. Roll the pictures for me. These are just the views of important Nigerians, people that hold power in Nigeria in different political parties. Please just keep rolling it on. Yeah, you can see what they said. Okay? Go on. Yeah, somebody said, no. Yeah, somebody said, you fight Almighty Allah when you fight Boko Haram. So said the Sultan of Sokoto. I'm not the one that said it. Okay? The next one. This is what former Governor Rufai said. Okay? Yeah. Look at him again. And look, before you leave this place, you may not be able to reach this from far off. This is a statement by General Azubike Ihejirika, who was Chief of Army Staff during President Jonathan's time. He said that El Rufai was one of the enablers of Boko Haram and insecurity in Nigeria. Does he know what he's talking about? But if a Chief of Army Staff, a 3-star Army General said that, there must be some, he must know something that we don't know. Go on. Yeah, this is what somebody said. Boko Haram and Fulani bandits are northern Nigeria's freedom fighters. Adamu Garba said that. It has not been denied. This is State El Rufai again. Federal government against bandits because they are doing business, not secession like Nnamdi Kanu. Go on, next one. Yeah. This is what General Muhammadu Buhari said before he became head of state. He said, God willing, we will not stop the agitation for total implementation of Sharia in the entire Federation of Nigeria. This was in August 2001. Okay? Yeah, okay, look at this picture, very interesting. This is a state governor. Okay? This is a bandit or a terrorist or jihadist, whatever you call it, holding an assault rifle. And there's an army officer, I don't know whether it's an army officer or not, holding a military-grade weapon. This is not a double-barrel gun. An assault rifle is a military-grade weapon. It's not for civilian use. In the presence of a soldier and a state governor, okay? Yeah, look at all this. These are things taken from Nigeria's newspapers. Next one. Next slide. Okay. This is what somebody said, Kaubaraje, that they brought Fulani militias from Mali, from Sierra Leone, from Senegal, and others to win the 2015 election. Are those people still here or have they gone back to their various countries? I don't know. Next one. Fulanis who are killing Hausas in the mosque for refusing to pray behind Fulani imams. You know, and things like that. Look at all this. So this is even within the north itself. So it means it's difficult for us to see the same issues from the same angle. Next one. This is a report from Sahara Reporters, how some Nigerians made it impossible for ex-President Jonathan to defeat Boko Haram. This is from former Niger Governor Aliyu. But you know, there was a time that even President Jonathan himself openly confessed there are Boko Haram supporters in his own government. Yeah. Go on. Bauchi governor, who still wants to join the APC and wants to go to Senate, Bala Muhammad, said, Bauchi, that we have invited Fulani worldwide to settle in Nigeria. So it doesn't matter where they come from. I think, Oh, if you know, this man is Bello Abdullahi Bodejo, not Badejo, Bodejo. The EFCC has just said they are going to try him for terrorism financing to the tune of, I think, 2 million dollars. Okay? This is the chairperson or leader of the Miyetti Allah. Okay? Recently, a leader of Miyetti Allah was, I think in Benue State, was killed. The police have arrested 10 people and things like that. People are now asking questions. When a Fulani is killed, we see this action. What happens when other people are killed? Do we see the same action if they are not Fulanis? I'm not answering the question. Somebody, General Buhari said, clamping down on Boko Haram is injustice against the North. Okay, I think this should be the last one. Okay, now look, I didn't create all this. I just extrapolated them to prove a point to you, to show you that even on an issue that is critical to all of us, the sovereign existence of the Nigerian state, insecurity that we all suffer, we don't see things the same way. And so how do you think government will be able to solve this problem? When some people say, if you attack Boko Haram, you're attacking the North. Imagine if you're a Southern president. That was the problem that Jonathan faced. He was not only a Southern president, he was also a Christian. And so he was handicapped. Long before he became a candidate for election, General Muhammadu Buhari of blessed memory, if his memory is blessed, barged into the office of the governor of Oyo State, Lam Adesina. I don't remember whether it was in 2002 or 2003. And he came on behalf of the Fulanis to complain that Yorubas were making life difficult for the Fulanis and killing Fulanis in Oyo State. So he came as their representative. He became a president later. Okay? So, now, look, when I make these controversial statements, I just want you to see that I'm not making it as a mere critic. It is indubitably, this complexity that makes governance such a serious and intractable crisis for whoever is in government at any point in time. Not even our military rulers, with all their concentrated powers and unchecked powers in one maximum ruler, could escape reckoning with this reality. There is so much to balance and to be balanced. Ethnicities, cultures, religions, regions, and other primordial characteristics that made the country unique and perhaps not readily amenable to easy analysis and comparison. Unfortunately, as I've observed above in some of the paragraphs earlier, the liberal democratic system of governance, with all its built-in inadequacies and weaknesses, merely complicates rather than ameliorate Nigeria's governance challenges. Now, look at the things that happen in a liberal democracy, in our own type of liberal democracy. You are elected into office for 4 years. In the executive branch, you have term limit, 2 terms. You are elected, you take office. For the first 1.5 years, the opposition that you defeated is fighting rearguard battles against you. You will never be able to concentrate to do anything. After 2 years, the opposition parties begin politicking again. Because you want your next election, you join them. You are not focusing on governance. And people say, well, don't worry. We'll do it when I get my second term. So it means you are preoccupied with getting a second term, not with governance. What happens when you get a second term? The opposition is still fighting the same rearguard actions against you. Do you have enough freedom to do what you plan to do? Not necessarily, because you are looking at a situation that if you take certain actions, your political party might lose an election. And if you lose an election in the state, you become redundant in your own state. You are not controlling anything. So you want to make sure that a successor within the party will take over after you want to cover up your tracks and then to give you some prominence and gravitas in governance. So, am I by all this implying that these challenges are without redemption? Certainly not. That's not the point I'm making. Okay? It is definitely not beyond the intellectual competence of political scientists to come up with suitable and durable solutions. Hear me out. Political scientists do not lack the competence. We do have it. But I consider that such a discussion, how we can do it, requires a full-length disquisition which is outside the restricted purview of today's lecture. I hope we can have opportunities for further discussions. Now I have my critique of us political scientists, contemporary political scientists. In a simple sense, the academic discipline called political science is described as the study of the state, government, and politics. The political scientist or political science scholar is concerned with studying the political systems and processes of the state and government. He or she conducts research on how governments work and how laws are made, including how states conduct and manage their external relations. In addition, political scientists can and do bring their knowledge into the service of the state and governments in diverse ways. We have people holding elective and appointive government positions. We have those who are advising and assisting governments, etc. Foremost Nigerian political scientists before us have played these roles with remarkable sagacity and finesse under different civilian and military administrations since independence in 1960, leaving indelible records of achievements behind. It seems to me, however, that contemporary Nigerian political scientists hardly occupy the same high pedestal and preeminence in critical national discourses that our intellectual forebears and progenitors once did. It would seem that contemporary political scientists are not necessarily cut from the same cloth as our intellectual ancestors, the likes of Professors Eme Awa, Oyeleye Oyediran, Billy J. Dudley, S.N. Udom, Claude Ake, L. Adeleji Nadu, Okudiba Nnoli, John A. Ayoade, Bayo Adekanye, Isawa Elaigu, Ibrahim Gambari, Bolaji Akinyemi, Aaron Gana, Alaba Ogusanyo, to name a few. Political scientists know them. These were people, scholars, who were renowned for their uncommon erudition, peerless scholarship, theoretical rigor, scientific and clinical analysis, explication of complex theories, and elucidation and simplification of conceptual issues. Overall, impeccable and elevated analysis that make them to be recognized as scholars of world-class ranking. Trained in some of the best institutions in the world, their books, journal articles, monographs, essays, public lectures, and conference presentations are the stuff of world-class scholarship and basic materials for the training of generations of political science scholars at all levels. In the citation or the biography of Akintunde, it was said. So you could see that those were people not only highly trained, they were critical, people listening to them, they mentored generations of political scientists. The nation held these people in high esteem. Military rulers stood in awe of them. They were consulted on critical national issues and their voices carried weight. Their views were given due consideration. Many of them were even co-opted to work in government in different capacities to utilize their vast intellect and erudition for nation building under both civilian and military governments. The crop of Nigerian political science scholars on critical reliance on received Western-oriented theories. This is where I'm criticizing us. Our uncritical reliance on received Western-oriented theories, concepts, methodologies, and analytic tools has become a hindrance to the production of sound analysis of the Nigerian and African reality, and has reduced our ability to offer the roadmap to nation building and development today. Most of us commit the uncritical error of sole or over-reliance on Western epistemologies, which carry limited relevance to the explication and understanding of the African and Nigerian reality, totally foregoing indigenous epistemologies and methodologies of knowledge production and dissemination. We fail to adhere to the advice of one of our intellectual progenitors, late Professor Claude Ake's admonition that Western social science is sheer imperialism. It is designed for the purpose of westernizing the third world. That is, to make the third world become more like the West, not necessarily to develop. If we take that to heart, our analysis of issues will probably be a bit more nuanced. Regrettably, younger generation of Nigerian political scientists tend to gravitate more to commentary and criticism in the place of in-depth, scientifically rigorous, and analytically balanced writings on politics and governance in Nigeria, missing the opportunity to offer much needed critical suggestions and guidance to leaders and political operators of governance on governance. Now let me just say this. It has become common and fanciful today to see young political scientists, instead of offering critical analysis, arriving at conclusions based on the weight of evidence and critical scientific rigorous analysis, they simply start with a comment. Oh, this government is bad. Oh, this government is useless. Why? Am I saying that they are wrong? I'm not saying so, but you cannot start with a conclusion. A journalist, a commentator can do those things, but a political scientist must show us the metrics for measuring good or bad governance. List them out, see how many of them this government has, how many it lacks. And it's on that basis you will base your conclusion, not to wrong commentary. I mean, even when people, I go to conferences sometimes, and this is what I hear and gets on my nerves. Okay? I'm not saying that we should not comment. I do comment myself. But my commentaries are based on sound analysis, whether in newspaper or magazines, articles, and things like that. So it's not just like blistering condemnation, okay? Yeah. So we need to do something about that. Political scientists today are serving more as critics and commentators than analysts. It has been difficult for Nigerian political science scholars to play meaningful roles in offering guidance and in shining the light on the pathways forward. The pervasive practice of contemporary political science scholars employing, this is another critical issue, employing complex, esoteric, and arcane concepts, foreign-inspired theoretical constructs. You know, anytime you read people's work, you say things like structural functionalism, constructivism, liberal and neoliberal internationalism, Marxism, Leninism, and all these kind of things. I'm not saying that they are bad, but many of them are unsuitable terms and terminologies to explain the reality in our own climate, and therefore counterproductive in that they make simple realities more esoteric and complex for the ordinary Nigerian, the ordinary folk who requires the knowledge of socio-political realities that the political scientist is expected to provide. Now, this is not just the fault of the young scholars alone. It is also the fault of the universities. And I don't know where these things come from. And you will see it. Many are today writing more for the consumption of the narrowly educated social scientists than for the edification of the generality of the people who are yearning for knowledge and understanding. Hence, many are wallowing in pointless and unproductive intellectual masturbation. This growing tendency is responsible for the inability of the contemporary Nigerian political scientists to explicate reality intelligibly and to engage in agenda setting and rendering advice to the ruling class and political decision makers of the Nigerian state. But again, the esoteric nature of current, this is where universities are culpable. The esoteric nature of current social science training in our universities is not only increasingly geared towards scientific methodology of quantification, and I think all our scholars should bear this in mind. There is over-dependence on scientific methodologies of quantification, what Claude Ake refers to as the mathematization of political science, almost to the exclusion of qualitative or non-quantitative methodologies. And this is to blame for the kind of analysis that people make. Today, even graduate MSc and PhD research theses are generally now forced to conform to stereotype templates and patterns that have been established by postgraduate colleges in our universities. And what is the adverse effect? It invariably points everybody towards a predetermined direction and conclusion. All are now made to sleep, facing the same direction by prescribed regulations and procedures, whether they are suitable or not. It is, in my view, fatal that we have all been indoctrinated into reliance on Western epistemologies and scientific methodology, as I said earlier. But it's also dangerous that we are also now pigeonholed by restrictive practices, by stereotyped postgraduate school regulations. There is what I describe as a uniformization of research procedures and presentation style, which in my humble view robs the graduate researcher and the supervisor the requisite intellectual flexibility and explicatory competence for critical knowledge production. Now, look, I've had in my 40-year career in OAU, I've had the privilege of being a postgraduate examiner in at least 12 departments in Obafemi Awolowo University for over the years. I've also examined MA, MSc, PhD theses in several Nigerian universities across the geopolitical regions, including at the University of Ghana, Legon, and at the Legon Center for International Affairs. The point I want to make from all this is not to blow my own trumpet, but to say that increasingly over the years, whether the fault is that of the NUC or the universities, I don't know, the procedures for rendering MSc and PhD theses have become stereotyped. Students are forced to conform. We all have to wear the same dress, whether they fit or not. And so immediately you take a PhD proposal, they start asking you the population sample. What if it does not require population? Supervisors have been denied, robbed the flexibility that they require to guide their own students because these stereotype things are there. How many people are you going to interview? I mean, what if it does not require interview? Not everything in political science is public opinion survey that you can mathematize or you can introduce statistical analysis, okay? How can political scientists be relevant in studying, researching, and analyzing our complex governance challenges and render credible advice and make meaningful impact when they are now no longer allowed by restricted scientific methodologies to think creatively? How can they be relevant in problem solving with imposed statistical or mathematical methodologies to the exclusion of historical, philosophical, and comparative methods and procedures? Those are questions that I want political scientists to ponder, teachers, graduate students, and all. By way of conclusion, reimagining the role of the political scientist. As Professor Emeawa said, he raised the crucial question as to whether there is knowledge in political science which the individual trained in the discipline can carry with him, and on the basis of which he can give assistance or advice of a political nature, unquote. I believe very strongly that Nigerian political science scholars can be reimagined and can recover the essence of their training, re-examine and realign their methodologies and refine their research tools to enable critical and logical thinking that is suitable for a proper understanding of reality, rather than the excessive mathematization of methodology which produces little understanding and robs the scholar the ability to render advice. The problem with this mathematized methodology is this: it gives you certain conclusions, it allows you to reach certain conclusions. But look, as political scientists, we also have to solve problems. We have to advise society on how to solve problems. The problem with excessive reliance on theory is this: theories are good. They are means of arranging facts and figures in order to produce intelligible knowledge. That's good. But each theory, all theories have their limitations. They can only explain so far. So if you depend on that, you can only arrive at the conclusions that that theory permits. Does that solve the problem of society? I don't think so. To be candid, my position, which I've stated here, must neither be construed as a wholesale rejection nor total repudiation of the scientific methodology, but only to acknowledge its limits and limitations in explaining political reality. For example, while the study of public opinions on specific issues or public opinion surveys can be suitably and conveniently reduced to statistical analysis. The same definitely cannot be said of other critical issues that do not admit of opinions. There is therefore an imperative for a return to the era when political science was suitably mixed with and predicated on the deep foundations of philosophy, history, anthropology, law, and geography, and others, even when we still apply the scientific method of analysis. A lot of knowledge about politics, remember that, political theory and governance were derived not from mathematics or statistical calculations, but from the writings of early philosophers, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, Thomas Hobbes, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Niccolo Machiavelli, including our own Chief Obafemi Awolowo, if you read his books. Comparative historical analysis of societies, of politics, of economics, development, and so on, which are required to provide deep understanding of how societies in various locales and in various historical periods manage their affairs, may not always accommodate statistical analysis and should not be forced into this one-size-fits-all methodology. Doing this, to return again to what Professor Awa said, will increase our intellectual efficacy and thus enable us to propose developments which are likely to lead to the advancement of our nation, unquote. We need to return to the era when Nigerian political scientists, working alongside scholars from the other social sciences, were very actively involved in tutoring of rulers and technocrats in matters of statecraft and of the socialization and mobilization of the general public, but also in creating and running critical agencies. Political scientists were responsible for the establishment and running of certain critical agencies of national development in the Nigerian state. The Political Bureau, for example, that Babangida set up to design a political future for Nigeria. You had a lot of political scientists that served in it, people like Professor Tunde Adenina. You have organizations like MAMSA, DFRI, NEC, which was then the National Electoral Commission. And you have professors like Emeawa, Humphrey Nwosu, who served in those areas. You have the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, where Professors Bolaji Akinyemi and Ibrahim Gambari made remarkable progress. People listen to them. You have the NIPS, National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. You have the Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, where Professors A.D. Yaya from ABU and Adeleji Nadu held sway. Center for Democratic Studies, which today has metamorphosed into the Institute for Legislative Studies. Yeah, the idea was suggested to government by the Adeniran, some Omar Ruiz, and the rest of them during the era of Political Bureau. It was established for the training of Nigerians, politicians, political office holders. And here you have places like the Ministry of External Affairs, which is now the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And you had Ibrahim Gambari, Bolaji Akinyemi holding sway, offering advice, and suggesting policies such as the Concert of Medium Powers. Under General Muhammadu Buhari as Nigeria's military ruler, pressure was on Nigeria to join the Organization of Islamic Conference. They referred the matter to Professor Ibrahim Gambari. Even though Ibrahim Gambari is a northerner, a prince from Ilorin, and a Muslim, he wrote a very critical analysis for the Nigerian government that it was not in our interest to join that organization, and Nigeria didn't join. That was when people's opinions carried weight, when their voices carried weight. Can we return back to that era? It is, in my humble view, the political scientists themselves that in the final analysis must strive to rediscover their essence, sharpen their tools for intellection, their methodologies and research instruments for the elucidation of the Nigerian, African, and global realities for the purpose of advancing knowledge for nation building. Thank you all for your attention.
I think that applause is too shallow. Please, a round of applause for him. That was an insightful. That was an insightful and impactful 35 minutes discussion of a 47 page lecture. Once again, thank you, sir, Professor Fawali, for that piece of lecture. Quickly, to lead us into the panel section almost immediately, I would like to call on our father, Professor Bamishaye, to please join us on the high table. Please, a round of applause for Professor Bamishaye, who will be joining us on the high table. And I also want to recognize the presence of one of our lecturers here, Professor Awofeso. Please, a round of applause for Professor Awofeso. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Now, quickly, moving into the panel section straightforward, we have eminent lecturers, scholars seated here, and they will further deepen our idea and knowledge on the topic that Professor Fawali has given to us. He has lectured us on the crisis of governance and the burden of leadership, reimagining the role of political scientists in contemporary Nigeria. So please, I need the protocol, please get me another mic from... Okay, it's there already. Okay, thank you. So we are going to start with Kabiesi himself. Kabiesi, please, we want you to give your 2 cents on the topic that has been delivered by Professor Fawali, what you can say about it in the next 5 to 10 minutes, sir.
A great honor to be here. And as a proud political scientist, an alumnus of the Department of Political Science, where the great scholar Baba Akintunde taught me political theory. Immediately I entered the hall, I saw Distinguished San is a chip of the old blog. Exact replica of Baba without the Ondo marks. Brilliant man, quiet, calm. He was a young man then, but we thought that he was old. Probably he was the oldest in the department there. Professor Gumbadejo, Professor Leo Dare, an authority on federalism, passed on in Canada some months ago. Professor Yewole of Modakeke, Professor Duro Toye, Professor Rovan Locke, Professor Leti, Professor C.S. Phillips, who taught us Nigerian foreign policy. An American well grasped in the foreign policy of Nigeria. Then Professor Leti, he taught us security studies. These were fine teachers, brilliant scholars. And it's nice to see my colleagues here, Professor Jire Bamishaye. And he had to remind me that, Kabis, have you forgotten you gave me that nickname Bam Bam? Because it's my Professor Bam Bam till eternity. I'm Professor Willie Fawole. I don't know how to discuss his paper because I've known this erudite scholar to be an inciting, brilliant, resourceful scholar. We were classmates in the International Relations Department, 1981 to 1983. And he had the best result in my set. Clap for him. Yeah, challenges of governance, I tell people all the time. Nation building is not a thing you get done overnight. It's always a process. And I was just looking at the young scholars here, political scientists of the future from next year or from December. We were like you 46 years ago. And we should not deceive ourselves. We are not going to be around the next 46 years. Apart from him and the distinguished son, I am certain Professor Willie Fawole, Professor Bam Bam, and myself, we are not going to be around the next 46 years. So it's yours. Learn from the mistakes of the past. We pray that we hand over the baton to you well and make Nigeria the best. I say it all the time. I didn't study in Ife to be a king. Oh. To be a king, no. To be a king, no. But it's the best thing that has ever happened to me. That I'm a traditional ruler. And that I'm in the extreme part of the state of Osun, using my knowledge of political science to tell the world that yes, all politics is local. Openness, transparency, honor for the next man. Know that the position that you are in is just transient, not using the Western model. I'm not using the Western model to govern my people. Oh. I tap from the wisdom of the past. And that's why nobody can tell me not to celebrate my festivals. I have to celebrate my festivals because I see the knowledge of political thought in what we celebrate. That monarchs were before me and that I'm not going to be the last Orogun in Okeila. So I have to do it well. And the knowledge that during my festival, the Zero Festival, I'm moving from the palace to the main grand. And I see my people all around me. I know that power does not belong to me, but power belongs to the people. The sovereign power is not with the king, it's not with the president, it's not with the governor, it's with the people, And so when I'm leaving the palace for the final place, and you see me dancing, I just I'll be rocking. Then at the same time, I'll look back. I'll look whether my people are still with me. Oh. If they are not with me, I'm alone. So it's important for me to always feel the pulse of the people, either through public opinion or what have you. It's my knowledge of political science. We can make political science to be living. You feel it. And I tell people it's the master of all science. It's the master of all science, dealing with people. And Professor Fawole, you may not agree with me. He was saying it. He was so emphatic. Because there is no concise definition or way to any particular model. But the most important thing is, do not joke with the people. And a lot of our leaders joke with the people. They think that power is just something that is just forever, forgetting that power is just transient. Can you imagine? 46 years ago, we graduated from this university. 43 years ago, we graduated master's degrees older. And to the glory of God, about 36 years ago, I graduated in the Faculty of Law. And with all that is to become a king in an extreme part of the state. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I pray, I wish you use the knowledge of political science to propel Nigeria, focusing on the dynamics already highlighted by this learned professor, to make sure that things are done better in Nigeria. And I say it all the time. I use that biblical passage all the time. And it was mentioned in part of my resume. The book of Isaiah 58:12 is so dynamic. You can make it livable. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt build foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach and the restorer of the path to dwell in. Let us use our knowledge of political science to criticize the system, to build a prosperous future, to build the waste places, to the broken walls that are of the University of Nigeria. It's a duty, and re-energize governance in Nigeria. If you steal all the monies in the world, to use it for what? Where are the rich men of yesteryears and the rich men of women of yesteryears? They are sleeping in their graves. So I'm going to end my little comment with profuse gratitude to the family of our revered teacher, Professor Akintunde. I'm representing my class, the 1980 class, where we have in retirement 2 assistant inspectors generals of police, where we have in retirement 2 commissioners of police, where we have in retirement about 5 ambassadors of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and a justice of the Court of Appeal. So I'm saying all these things to encourage you. Don't think that, hey, political science is a dead subject. Some people will tell you that, why are you studying political science? Just laugh at them. That you are studying the best course ever in the world. God bless you. I love you.
Once again, a round of applause for KBSC. You know, KBSC has done justice to the topic, but one thing struck my heart, the end part. It said, political science is a good course. If anybody is telling you not to study political science, what would you tell them? Please, a round of applause for that lady again. She's proud to be a political scientist in the making. Political science is the study of governments. After God is who? After God is who? Thank you so much. So the next person that will be giving us his 2 cents on the topic is, please, a round of applause for Baba Bam himself, Professor Bam Eshaye.
let me stand on the existing protocol. First of all, I don't even know where to start. I should have been blameworthy if I have refused not to attend this occasion. Initially, I was not officially invited. I was only given half invitation. And that has prompted me to say, I'm not coming here. But when I look at the caliber of people that are associated with this ceremony, Professor Fawole, Oba Oke Ila, my very good friend from the beginning, and Baba Akitude and Baba Anishe. Hey. That is the reason whether I've been rightly invited, wrongly invited, I will be here. And nobody can drive me away from political science. I'm not talking, I'm not going to give another lecture, just to express my feelings on what has happened in my own cherishable department, political science. And today I should have regretted it too. Let me put if I'm not a political scientist. You can say why. When I was admitted, that was 1976. After my HSC, I had 2 admissions. Then, no jam then. I was asked to come and read economics at University of Lagos. And another admission to read political science. By that time, I loved economics. I love it so much because I had A at advanced level. But something just touched my mind. Let me go for political science. If I've not gone for political science, then I've regretted today. That's where I'm going. Our Kabiyesi, as he has said, is the one who gave me, he nicknamed me Bam Bam. Say Bam Bam. He's the one who honored me. And Professor Fawole can testify to this. Even my friend Fawole, he always called me Bam 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 Bam. But somebody called me Bam Bam. I will never mention his name in this university. You can say Dr. Bamishaye, Bam Bam. So, I'm happy to be in the midst of you people, and I congratulate the Department of Political Science. It's rising. You know, some spirit, some people, when they leave a university or a department, the department will be doing what? It will be going down. This is not happening in our political science department. Even one time I called Afolabi, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do? Nearly everybody in the department are all professors. Nearly all. And it will continue indefinitely. It will not stop in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Those who are joining us, the young lecturers, emulate we that are elders. People like, if they are now looking for elders in my department, Professor Sat opinion, our professor, I think and more interestingly, somebody again, Professor, yes, it's an associate professor, Professor Aguya. Aguya is now a professor, and I taught him and I supervised him. I cannot deny that. Afolabi cannot say I've not taught him. Oh, it's my son. Like others, the Department of Political Science is really going higher every day. And by the special grace of God, you will never fall down. And as a Lord Bishop, I always pray for my department. One gbàdúrà fún ire Jerusalem. En tó bá ṣe kíni? Tó bá fẹ́ yóò ṣe kíni o? Yóò ṣe rere. I must continue. It's my department. And it will remain my department till I die. Because Kabiyesi has measured every one of us. The Kabiyesi, myself, and my friend Fawole, I don't think we have grace of 40-something years. I was a student in this university for my Master of Philosophy in Political Science in the year 1980. That is 46 years ago. Let me start from Baba today. This Baba is the one who impacted knowledge, indisputable knowledge, because of the course Baba was taking then. He was my head of department then, and Baba is teaching the most abstract courses: political thought, liberal democratic theory, Leninism and Marxism. All these courses, if you don't have a brain, you can't teach it in the university. And I don't like it. I don't like the courses. Let me just tell you fact. Baba Akitude's course to us then was an elective. I dodged that idea. I'm not registering for this thing. That right away from my first degree, anything theory is very hard. Baba personally called me one morning. Say, Jire, Baba used Ondo dialect to talk to me. Baba loved Ondo city. He said, you said you are not offering this course, you must surely, whether you like it or not, you must do it. And at the end of the day, I had A in Baba's course. Then Baba said, yeah, you will do the second semester course too, Leninism and Marxism. I said, Baba, let me leave this. He said, you will do it. And the course was so abstract, I don't know whether it has been simplified. Baba is somebody who loves the truth and nothing but the truth. Baba will be speaking gently. He won't rush. But anything that is coming out, so hardworking and highly respected. My son, sir, congratulations for what Baba has done in this university. Let me leave Baba. Let me move a bit to Professor Anishe. Baba Anishe, we call it Baba Anishe. They are all Baba. By the time we were here as students, he taught me public policy analysis. And that is where I produced my thesis, both MPhil and PhD from the University of Ibadan. So, Baba Anishe was a born teacher. He's the one who told me I'm not a lecturer. He said, I'm in Ife. I'm not your lecturer. I am your teacher. That's what Baba always say. He's a born teacher. And I joined that Baba. And he helped me. And that's where I will end my speech. This Baba Anishe helped me. When we did, I offered this course, public policy analysis, and I passed it. I'm happy to tell you again that I had A there too. So, by the time we were now presenting our what we call it, our thesis, the regulation from the postgraduate school then is that when you say you will finish, they will give it to another second reader. By that time, blessed memory, Mr. Yena Keke defended his M5 before me, even 3 or 4 or 5 months. Baba Nishe came from US then. He met me, say, Bamishaye, are you still around? To have gone by now. I say, I'm TTL. The second reader marked my paper down, that I'm even confused. Baba invoke that regulation. If one reader find it difficult to assess you favorably, it can be given to another senior lecturer. That's how my something was given to Professor Anishi. He read it. He said it's in order. Personally, he took the thesis to University of Ibadan. And at the end of the day, on, I think that is, I don't know the date yet. But at the end of the day, this is how I earned my Master of Philosophy in Political Science. You can see now the two men, no, not with us anymore, but through our memory, 2 of them has done very, very, very well. And for those of us who are still there, whether you like it or not, one day you will retire like me. I'm a retired lecturer now. You will retire, but position you are now, try as much as possible to maintain the dignity. Because you are there today, another man will be there tomorrow. Here I rest my case. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Once again, a round of applause for our retired lecturer that is not tired. You heard, that Baba is the Lord Bishop, so the Lord blessing be on every one of us in Jesus' name. Do you want Baba to pray for you? You want Baba to pray for you? You want to collect academic and spiritual blessing? It's all good. Don't worry, you can meet him in the church on Sunday. He will give you that one. So quickly, still in the midst of getting the panelists notion about the topic, I would like to call on the next person to speak. The next person to speak now is Chief Richard Ayodele Akintunde, SAN. Please, a round of applause for Bamofin of Ondo Kingdom. In the next 5 to 7 minutes, we will be discussing on the topic, giving his own contributions.
Kábíyèsí, the Orogun of Ila Orogun, our host, Professor Olugbemiga Folabi, the speaker, the guest lecturer for today, Professor Fawole, distinguished members, staff and members of the Department of Political Science, distinguished professors and lecturers here, and the students of our very great university, Great Ife. Permit me to specially recognize my wife that is here with me, Yeyiba Mofin of Ondo Land, and my brother is here, Professor Jamaik Adiyeye. He was my senior in Ilesha Grammar School, and I'm happy to see him here today. I am honored beyond words for the privilege to be here today at the first Ife Political Science Annual Lecture, and also at the celebration to honor my late father, Pa Josiah Olanipekun Akintunde. As we all know, he was a foundation lecturer at the University of Ife, and he spent most of his working life in the Department of Political Science. You have done him a great honor by celebrating him today, and please clap for yourselves. I am as we used to see, I'm a campus or a quarters boy. I don't know whether that phrase still applies. I grew up here on campus, went to staff school, I went to Elisha Grammar School, and also did my university here. And I'm so happy with the developments on campus. I'm so happy that the beauty of Ife still remains as the most beautiful university in Africa. We've listened to our guest lecturer, and I want to salute him for his very scholarly presentation. Looking at his resume, I did not expect anything less. We lawyers, when we are doing cases whether we are co-defendants with somebody in a case, and he has the privilege of speaking ahead of us, after his submissions, if we don't have much to say or even anything to add, we say we concur with the submissions of my learned friend. I concur with mostly everything that Professor Fawoli has said. He has hit the nail on the head. Without any shadow of doubt, there is a crisis of leadership and also an issue with governance in Nigeria. And this is not only in the legislative and executive arm, it is also a crisis. There's also a crisis in the judiciary, because today the perception of the public about the judiciary is in decline. And this topic is very apt because it talks about reimagining the role of the political scientist in contemporary Nigeria. I think at some point in the life or career or any profession, there must be a time where we have to pause and say, how do we get to the next level? We've heard it from our distinguished emeritus professors here that political science is the best course. And I restate it, it is indeed the best course because of its versatility. You know, sometimes we say law is versatile, but I say also that political science is very versatile because you can operate in various spheres, whether it is in government, whether it's in private sector, whether it is in the academia. There is space for you. Even in the media, there is space for you because we are all political animals. And having a training as a political scientist gives you that added notch, because in everything you do, there is politics. In your house, there's politics. So it's a time for us to reflect. How do we get to the next level? Because when it says reimagining, that is very deep. because it says to us, how do we look deeply at how we can recreate ourselves, reinvent ourselves, make ourselves relevant in today's world? Because the world is evolving. The world is evolving. As political scientists, we also must move and evolve with the world. As we all know, there are a lot of things happening. Technology is there. AI is there. Well, how do we continue to show our relevance? And I think one of the things that we must do is we have to identify what are the best things we are known to be able to do as political scientists. What are our niche areas? And how do we increase the relevance of our careers, our professional skills in these niche areas? This is very important, because if we do not know our strengths, we will not be able to determine how best we can evolve or recreate or imagine those strengths. So we have strengths, whether it is in research, whether it is in policies, whether it is in areas such as media, areas as much as helping to understand how power and government systems work. We have our special abilities in that area. So we need to be able to improve our skills. So we have to think, reimagine how best are we able to ensure that we are relevant in today's society. There's a lot of evolution happening in various professions, and I will give the legal profession as an example. Right now, the traditional lawyer, is the traditional lawyer who goes to court, who announces, appears for people. But law is far evolving more than that. For instance, I'm involved in insolvency work. It's an area of practice which is completely different from just going to court, because you are talking about turning around businesses, business rescue. Also, you're talking about asset tracing. So these are things that you continue to grow in a profession, because you cannot stick to the usual, which is just research and policy formulation alone. You must be relevant in the practical space. And I want us to think outside the box, because it's not just about us being very good in research papers, being very good in scholarly articles alone. How do this become relevant practically to the society? For instance, now, I say to myself, I rarely see any publications from political scientists in respect of what is happening in the judiciary. For instance, there are so many conflicting decisions of courts. There are situations where you have courts not recognizing the hierarchy of courts. You have situations where courts are not following precedents. As political scientists, we have a duty to educate, to inform, and look at all those critical areas, because they have an impact on the democratic process. Many of us are aware of what is happening with the NDC, what is happening with ADC, things like that. But we need to show that we are political scientists. This has an impact on the democratic process. So, ladies and gentlemen, the topic is a charge to all of us. Because just like KBC said, the future is right here with us. I remember those days when I was growing up. political scientists, just like Prof was saying. Though those periods were mostly military regimes, but the political scientists were very relevant. You mentioned Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Professor Dari, Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. They were heads of very important government agencies. And they were also very much involved in policy making for government. Right now, we've had a political era since 1999. This is our El Dorado time, because this is our specialization. Political science is more relevant more than ever before. So let us think outside the box. Let us think outside the box. We are not just as academicians for the university environment. We are to make impact in society. And we have all the tools and skills to do so. And let us decide to make a shift in how we look at the course, not just from the narrow perspective of being academicians alone, which is very good, but also for the development of the society. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Please, once again, a round of applause for SAN. Thank you so much for that. And last but not the least, to give us his own final verdict on the topic, I would like to call on the representative of Right Honorable Najim Salam. His representative, ably represented by Omoba Sekiru Adetono Ayedun, will be giving us his own 2 cents on the topic.
Professor Fawole, good day, sir. The Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Congratulations for today. Great Ife. Articulate Ife. Ever conscious and ever versatile Ife. Great Gogo. Great Gbagba. Great Shh. Thank you for today, Professor Fawole. You have done a great justice to the topics being given. But however, as little as we are in acquisition of knowledge through you, we still have a little to add to what you have just, a pep of what you have just given to us. Professor Fawole has brought to the fore the intricate relationship between governance, leadership, and intellectual responsibility of political scientists. However, I'm not here to duplicate what he has said, but we have to understand what the crisis of governance is all about. We have seen governance just to exercise political authority, but it goes beyond that. It encompasses processes through which public institutions formulate policies, allocate resources, uphold the rule of law, which SAN has spoken about, deliver public services, and ensure accountability. However, in Nigeria, governor is not judged by the existence of institutions, but their effectiveness in responding to citizens' needs. And if you have listened to all that Professor Fawole had said, are they responding to our needs? No. Nigerian governance crisis manifests itself in several dimensions. It is reflected in persistent insecurity, economic instability, widespread corruption, weak institutional capacity, electoral controversies, youth unemployment, infrastructural decay, and declining public confidence in government institutions. While the democratic situation has endured since 1999, Consolidations remain fragile because governance outcomes have consistently fallen below par or public expectations. The paradox is evident. Nigeria possesses abundant natural resources, youthful population, and enormous human capital. Yet, these advantages have not translated into sustainable development because governance structures offer political survival over public service delivery. What comes into my purse is much more important to what benefits the masses. That's the situation we find ourselves today in Nigeria. So the governance challenge, therefore, is not merely administrative. It is fundamentally institutional, ethical, and developmental. The burden of leadership goes beyond individual failure. It has to do with combination of various issues, which are weak institutions, political patronage and clientelism, ethnic religious divisions, electoral commercialization, poor policy continuity, limited civic participation, weak accountability mechanisms, and endemic corruption. In many instances, institutional weaknesses outlive individual administrations. Government change, yet governance outcomes remain remarkably similar because structural deficiencies remain largely unaddressed. Thus, while leaders must be held accountable, institutional reform should receive equal emphasis. Now, reimagining the role of political scientists. When we are reimagining the role of political scientists, what I will only say today, sir, is that political scientists have been more academical rather than being practical, because all that Prof has told us today had shown if political scientists had been much more involved in policy formulations and other issues and ensuring that it is practicalized as it's supposed to be, we might not be in the situation we are today. It has reflected in our economy, it has reflected in our judiciary, and it has even reflected in our ethnic and cultural relationship. So, whatever we are saying today, political scientists, as we've been told you are the best today, you must strengthen evidence-based policy making. They should always try as much as possible to shape public discourse with your understanding and knowledge of what policy making should be. Whatever we're talking about, governance and government in Nigeria, political scientists is much more involved. Our electoral reform today, if we look at who and who had been a contributor to it, I never believe, or I never knew or know, Prof, whether political scientists were involved in our electoral reform. And that is why we can't get it better. Same thing has to do that you have to be much more involved in policy engagement, interdisciplinary collaborations, and ethical responsibility. So with all this, I believe we need much more involvement of political scientists in our day in, day out government and administration of this country. And with this, I believe we can have a transformation governance rather than transactional governance that we have today, where there will be institutional integrity, accountability, transparency, inclusive development, citizen participation, rule of law, and long-term national planning. That is, if you are permitted. It's one thing to have the knowledge, is another thing that you have the opportunity to apply the knowledge. Our situation in Nigeria today has not even shown that Nigeria is blessed with the best brain. our corruption, ethnic bias, and religious bias too, has redirected our thinking and our knowledge about governance, and which we are appealing to you, sir. This knowledge must not go down the drain. Let us get more involved in governance. Let us get more involved in policy making. Let us get more involved in transformational governance, which will allow for us to have the best of the resources we have in Nigeria. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Once again, a round of applause for the representative of Right Honorable Noji Salam. So, quickly, please, I need one of the protocol to please be with me. I need you to hold this mic while I ask you to give some set of people to just give their 2 cents. Quickly, in the next 10 minutes, you have to ask everyone that will be telling you to give the microphone. Please, it's an honor for you to give Professor Adeyeye. I was told to give Professor Adeyeye. Please, a round of applause for Professor Adeyeye to give his own little piece of. Mr. Adeyeye is here. Professor Adeyeye, all the lecturers are told to speak in 1 or 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. I wish to congratulate my brother, a chief and a son. And then I want to say that the man we are celebrating today is a political theorist and then a political philosopher. And then Professor Fawole, you are a scholar that would always look deep into issues and begin to interrogate what is really happening in the society. Where are we and where are we going? I think the issue of the crisis of governance that we have, I want to just sound this note of caution. Crisis of governance could be overwhelming. For example, in the situation that we have in Nigeria, if not in Africa, it could be overwhelming. And when we get to that point, we should be cautious so that we don't slip into political distrust. And then when you slip into political distrust, it might lead to political cynicism. And that is dangerous for scholarship. You have given a beautiful narrative of events in Nigeria, critically. And then I was going along with you. But at any point in time, I was looking for a caveat, just throw in some little ideas about what we could do about this, what we could do about that. I'm yet to really find that. And as a political scientist, a key pillar of political science is political theory. Theories are meant to explain things. Theories are meant to expatiate on things. Theories are meant to explain what the issues are, or the causes of what we are experiencing, and what we can do through comparative theories about the issue at stake. And as political scientists also, I ask myself, who is a political scientist now? Because the political science now we have is multidisciplinary. We have political communication, we have political theory, we have comparative politics, we have local government, we have public administration, and we have your field also, international relations. But in all these disciplines, there are theories. It is true, the theories that will link us to the mother discipline, political science. And then I'm saying all this so that when we interrogate issues, as far as we can get overwhelmed, we need to start to break it down one by one, so that we take those issues one by one. For example, you mentioned the issue of research and theories, especially in political science and even in international relations, are meant to explain the situation. Research will just tell you this is what is happening. And it is for you, through policy, to now attack, to now take ownership of that research results and do whatever you want to do with it. And that will link us to policy. And then I think the gap between theories and practice in political science is a big problem that we need to mend. Application of those political theories that we know, that we build every day. We invalidate theories, and theories, we bring up another theories and things like that to explain issues. And then if we get through all these things, may be able to explain some of those issues. For example, you raise the issue of recruitment into governance. The parties are there. The parties are there to take ownership of liberal democracy, to steer who they put forward for election. If they put forward anybody that will not be able to handle governance, we throw them out. Liberal democracy will tell you this and this and this, the ideal things that you need to do. But if you fail to do some of those things, you might not get the result that you expect. I think I want to thank you for this. You raised these issues. And I think we need to continue to talk about these issues, and things like that. And you talk about the complexity in our system. Nigeria is a federal system. And the federal system deals with complexity and diversity. That's why I think our motto is unity in diversity. I don't know how we are going to achieve that with what we have on ground. But the theories of federalism we also have, through which we deal with those diversities in governance, toward having an efficient governance in place. And then there are issues like that, and issues of poverty, issues of security. What are we doing with the local government system? You mentioned that we only criticize the government at the federal level. The state government, the local government, what are they doing? That's the federal structure that we have. The theories of federalism, we have classical theories, deals with two levels of government, federal unit, and then at the center and the state. But then we have an introduction of 3 levels of government in the Nigerian federal theory. Do not say we have 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local government. So what are we doing with all those ideas? It is those ideas that, as political scientists, we need to start to interrogate day in, day out. And I want to thank the political science department for bringing Professor Fawale to this place to cheer us up, to say, look, we've been sleeping, and then we need to wake up, and then do what is necessary for us to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that piece of thought. Now, quickly, please, we need everyone attention right now, as we'll be having a display on something that will interest you. After displaying, they will talk about it. Please, the media, are you ready for us? Hello. Now, by displaying this, please, I would like to call on the HOD. This is a proposal for the establishment of Josiah and Florence Akintunde Legislative Chamber from the Department of Political Science of Bafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, Nigeria. You can see how beautiful this project looks. This will be a monumental achievement for the department, and it's a legislative chamber that serve as an emulation of how states federal legislature should look like. First of its kind in the department. It's a proposal. I know a bill, just like in the legislature rather, a bill is just still a proposal until it's been approved.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, we are moving straight to the award presentation, and we have 3 categories of award. The first one has been done earlier. The second category, which happens to be the Ife Political Science Ambassador Award, mainly for the students of political science who have excelled in their different careers, who have also identified with the department. So I'll call them one after the other. Then I'll call the head of the department, Chief Ayodele Richard Akintunde SAN, also to be on standby so that we can do the presentation of the award accordingly. And we also want to encourage all our awardees and other well-meaning individuals. The proposal has been displayed. We've initiated a seed funding for the proposal. So the account number will be displayed. If you like to support, you want to tell us your commitment towards the project, immediately after your award, you will have 1 minute to do that and to say whatsoever thing you want to say. Please, one of the ushers should please help us get in touch with SAN, please. All right, so the first on the list is Alhaji Dr. Said Ogundare. A round of applause, please. SAN, sir. Please, I need one usher on standby here. All right, so because of our time, we won't be able to read the citation of individuals, so you can just read through their citation. But one thing that is certain is every individual on this list are graduate of political science or Bafemi Awolowo University, either at undergraduate level, master's level, or PhD. Said Ogundare PhD is a distinguished researcher, political communication expert with many years of experience as a public policy affairs analyst. He has his Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, and doctoral degree in political science from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University and also the Department of Political Science. All right. His area of interest include policy, public administration, democratic governance, and political economy. He's presently a research fellow at the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Study, National Assembly, Abuja. He's happily married with 3 children. So please, research.
Alhaji Dr. Saheed Ogundare, in recognition of your outstanding service and representation of the Department of Political Science of Bafemi Awolowo University, we give you this award this 29th day of June 2026.
All right, so please, the mic can be given to Dr. Saheed Ogundare to minutes here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me. I cannot but thank the
Department of Political Science having recognized me as one of the recipients of this award. I can only pray to the department that may God Almighty continue to progress the department. Thank you very much.
All right. All right. Second on the list is Prince Ajile Shoro Oladotun. A round of applause, please. And very quickly, he also has a very lengthy citation, but I'll just paraphrase it. Prince Oladotun Surajuddin Oladele Ajile Shoro is a distinguished son of the ancient city of Ile-Ife, born in a revered royal family with a rich legacy of leadership, service, and cultural heritage. He's a respected scholar, accomplished industrialist, entrepreneur, farmer, educationist, philanthropist, and community leader. Furthering his academic pursuits, he earned a postgraduate diploma in public administration from Obafemi Awolowo University, a master of public administration, and a master of business administration from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso. Beyond academia, he is a successful businessman and industrialist with interests spanning logistics, agriculture, hospitality, education, and importation. A widely traveled global citizen, Prince Ajile Shoro has visited several countries across different continents, gaining valuable international exposure that has enriched his leadership perspective and strengthened his commitment to innovation, excellence, and sustainable development. A round of applause for Ajile Shoro, please.
This IFE Political Science Ambassadors Award is given to you this 29th day of June 2026 in recognition of your outstanding service and representation of the Department of Political Science of Obafemi Awolowo University.
Good afternoon, my fellow students. Yes, I humbly greet my father, Professor Paul, and my political leader, Omoba SK Ayedun, as we fondly call him. Well, when my friend was reading my citation, he forgot to mention that I'm still presently a student in the great citadel of learning, Obafemi Awolowo University. To the glory of Almighty Allah, I'm a Part 3 law student here again. Well, I appreciate Almighty Allah for this great and rare honor, because all the lecturers that tutored me then, I graduated here to the glory of God in year 2001. That is 25 years ago. And all the lecturers that Professor Bamisaye mentioned, I was privileged to be their student then. And I want to just say something in line with what Professor Pawale has taught us. And this will go to the leaders, because the topic is about leadership and governance. We are all prospecting leaders. We are aspiring to be leaders, and that is why we have studied political science, and those that are still studying the best discipline in the world. Although my senior he was forced to agree with that assertion that political science is the best discipline in the world, even though all political scientists are just educated, they are not learned. It is it is only the lawyers that are assumed, presumed, and known to be learned. Please forgive me, my fellow political scientists. So I want to briefly advise our leaders about being a visionary. When a leader has a good vision, just like the one that their leaders in, let me cite an example of United Arab Emirates. All they have good vision, and we can all see and testify to how that continent, the United Arab Emirates, has turned to now. They have vision. They have vision. Those leaders have vision. And secondly, being selfless. Our leader must be selfless. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Next on the list is Honorable Kingsley Olamilekan Awoshiyan. All right, please. I would like if those at the media unit can please display the account number for the seed project. I sent it to you now, please. All right, thank you. Honorable Kingsley Olamilekan Awoshiyan is a distinguished son of Ile-Ife, Osun State, whose life exemplified dedication to education, entrepreneurship, public service, and community development. Upon completing his secondary education, he worked briefly at Olaoluwa Glass Company in Igbakoda, Ondo State, serving as an admin officer and supervisor. Driven by a passion for knowledge and self-development, he proceeded to the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, where he obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science. Widely traveled and exposed to diverse culture through numerous international trips, Honorable Kingsley Olamilekan Awoshiyan is renowned for his generosity, humility, and unwavering commitment to the welfare of humanity. Today, he stands as an accomplished entrepreneur, dedicated public servant, and respected political leader, whose contribution continues to impact positively on the life of many within and beyond Osun State. Please, a round of applause for Honorable Olamilekan Awoshiyan.
The Department of Political Science presents you this IFE Political Science Ambassadors Award in recognition of your outstanding service and representation of the Department of Political Science of Obafemi Awolowo University this 29th day of June 2026.
Great effort. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate this recognition, and I pray for the family and your support for the department ever since. And by His grace, the Department of Political Science will continue to grow higher and higher. I appreciate everyone, and I will continue to support the department any day, anytime. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. If I have the power, I would have just said this idea of us not announcing whatever our pledge is. This is Department of Political Science, the alpha and omega of politics. So whatever reason is under politics. So please, let's just someone should please find the account number to him so that he can accordingly. All right, the next on the list is Abdullahi Olakanmi Olagoke. Olakanmi Abdullahi Olagoke is from Oshogbo, Osun State, and is a distinguished alumnus, accomplished entrepreneur, and an inspiring leader whose life reflects diligence, resilience, and unwavering commitment to excellence. During his undergraduate years, Olakanmi distinguished himself not only academically, but also through exemplary leadership and selfless service. Within the Department of Political Science, he served meritoriously as the Public Liaison Officer, PLO, promoting effective communication, unity, and cordial relationship among students and the department. The story of Olakanmi Abdullahi Olagoke is one of determination, visionary leadership, entrepreneurial excellence, and unwavering commitment to service. From his humble beginning in Ogbomoso to becoming a respected businessman with thriving interest in Nigeria and the United States. His journey exemplified the reward of hard work, integrity, perseverance, and the courage to pursue lofty aspiration. Please, a round of applause for Abdullahi Olakanmi Olagoke. And if I must add, he actually flew in from the United States for this purpose. So please celebrate him one more time.
This IFE Political Science Ambassadors Award is presented to you this 29th day of June 2026 in recognition of your outstanding service and representation of the Department of Political Science, Obafemi Awolowo University.
Olakanmi Abdullahi Olagoke is not a public servant. He is my very good brother, so I know he can declare publicly. So he can't hide under the umbrella of this to governor, this to this. And he also has supporters who is here to also support him. Please, you can also come up. So, sir, please give him the mic so that he can make his donation in dollars.
Good day, everyone. I'm happy to be here and I'm very grateful for this award. And I want to say a very big thank you to the Department of Political Science. And I pray may God Almighty continue to keep us going forward from now till eternity. So like I said, definitely we've been talking even before I came to Nigeria. So definitely we're going to do something.
An answer.
Something good.
In dollars. Okay, you want to tell me I can $20,000, sir? All right. Abdullahi, Zico, please come forward, please. Come and support before the next award. Yours is just to make declaration of your support, please. Wait. Bring them back. Yes. Please, very quickly. Please, one of the ushers should please get the account number and pass to them.
I will send it. Let me have that.
Please, help me forward the account number to them right away. Thank you very much. Please, I need the representative of Right Honorable Najim Folashayo Salam. Najim Folashayo Salam, popularly called Iwaloye, meaning proven character is royal. Is a Nigerian politician, philanthropist, is a former speaker of the Osun State House of Assembly. Salam attended Ansarudeen Primary School, Ejigbo, Baptist High School, Ejigbo. He attended Oyo State College of Arts and Science for his A-level. He was admitted to Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife in 1989 to study political science and was awarded a Bachelor of Science, BSc degree in political science, second class upper in 1993. He earned a Master of Political Science from Department of Political Science and went on to obtain a Doctor of Philosophy, Department of Political Science. Due to his popularity, political acceptability, and support throughout Ejigbo, Salam was believed to be uncompromising when it comes to ideas of his political party. Despite pressure from the ruling party in the 2011 election, Salam contested and won a seat in Osun State House of Assembly. Salam attended leadership and capacity building courses in the United Kingdom, the United States, United Arab Emirates, Brazil, etc. A round of applause for Right Honorable Najim Folashayo Salam.
This IFE Political Science Ambassadors Award is given to Honorable Najim Salam in recognition of his outstanding service and representation of the Department of Political Science of Obafemi Awolowo University.
Great Ife. Great political scientist. Well, let me start congratulating you in advance. as one of you will be becoming the governor of Osun State by August 15. You have a product you need to support. I know today everybody sitting here is above 18 years of age. When my brother Surajuddin Ajilezoro was speaking, he said it's good to have a visionary leader. You have gotten one in Najim Salam. When you are looking for a forthright leader, you have gotten one in Folashayo Salam. When you are thinking of who will take Osun to the next level, you have gotten it in Folashayo Salam. So I'm saying it. I'm urging you today. Salam is contesting for the governorship of Osun with a 10-point agenda on how to take Osun to the next level. As a political scientist that has gone through the theory and pragmatic approach to leadership, I will urge every one of you seated here to stand up and queue behind Najim Folashayo Salam, the African Democratic Congress governorship candidate for August 2015 governorship election in Osun. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right. We have two more awards here before moving to the next category. And for these two, sir, you can please sit down. Yeah. I'll call you back. For these two, I'll just read their citation because they are joining us online. They would have loved to be here, but I think their flights got delayed. Dr. Temitayo Isaac Odeyemi. Dr. Temitayo Isaac Odeyemi is a political scientist and postdoctoral research fellow in democratic resilience at the Center for Elections, Democracy, Accountability and Representation, CIDA, University of Birmingham, UK, in partnership with the Westminster Foundation for Democracy. His academic journey began at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, where he obtained a BSc in politics, philosophy, and economics, winning both the Professor Leo Dare and J. Olanipekun Akintunde Prize, respectively, for the best student with the overall result and best graduating student of the Department of Political Science. Following his National Youth Service, he joined the Department of Political Science as a member of staff in 2013 and completed his MSc in Political Science in 2016. He later proceeded to the University of Leeds, UK, where he earned a PhD in Politics and International Studies in 2024. He returned to the Department of Political Science after completing his doctorate before taking up his current position in 2025. Dr. Odeyemi's research has informed both academic and policy debates and has involved collaboration with leading organizations including the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, the Interparliamentary Union, the United Nations Development Programme, and research partners within and beyond Africa. Throughout his academic journey, Dr. Odeyemi has remained a proud representative of the Department of Political Science, reflecting the department's enduring commitment to intellectual excellence, scholarship, public service, and societal impact. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Odeyemi. Boluwatife Ajibola. Boluwatife Ajibola is a researcher and research impact professional whose work sits at the intersection of contentious politics, the democracy development nexus, and knowledge exchange. He holds a first-class degree in political science from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and a master's degree in international development from the London School of Economics. He is currently a United Kingdom ESRC-funded doctoral researcher at the University of York, researching the interrelations between social movements and electoral politics in Nigeria. Boluwatife has over 5 years of experience managing research and leading impact strategies, policy engagement, and public outreach. Boluwatife also currently works as a research and impact development manager at the University of Leeds, UK, where he supports research and development processes and trains academics on maximizing research impact and policy engagement. His work in this area has contributed to successful grants captured worth over 20 million pounds and strengthened collaboration between academics and industry partners within and beyond the UK. Boluwatife's work extends beyond academia, involving collaboration on funded development projects and research consultancies with international organizations such as Partnership for African Social and Governance Research, Yaga Africa, Open Society Foundation, the International Council of Voluntary Agencies, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, and the US President Malaria Initiative for States, among others. Overall, Boluwatife brings scholarly and impact-oriented insight into broader efforts to develop discursively and effectively resonant mobilization strategies that can sustain democratic hope and development in the global south. A round of applause for Boluwatife Ajibola. Now for the third category of award, which is for leadership and excellence. The first recipient of this award is Professor Temidayo Akinbobola, ably represented by Professor Olayeni. A round of applause. And then to present the award, I would like Professor Fawole to please come to the table, and then the head of Department of Political Science. Apologies, please. The program is gradually moving to a close.
Department of Political Science, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, presents this award of leadership and excellence to you, Professor T.O. Akinbobola, in recognition of your outstanding personality, exemplary leadership, and excellence in public service on this day, 29th of June, 2026. Congratulations.
We are gradually coming to the end of the program, but before we finally draw down the continue on today's event, we would like to call on the representative of the family of Pa Akintunde Olanipekun, High Chief Richard Ayodele Akintunde. We'll be calling him to the podium right now to speak on the behalf of the family, showing their gratitude and as regards the project, what he has for us. Please, a round of applause for SAN as he's coming.
Once again, a very good afternoon to you all, and thank you for staying here so far. I have been in constant and regular conversations with the head of department and members of his team towards actualizing a legacy in honor of my late father. And so far, that beautiful drawing that you saw on the screen is a conception of what we have in mind. The whole idea is that we will have more discussions so that we can finalize on the project. But this project is our project. And I believe that the alumni of the department would also commit to the project. But I want to assure you that the Akintunde family will start with the seed for us to do the necessary architectural drawings, structural drawings, electrical drawings, the foundation, and then we all take it up from there. So,
That's okay. By the authority of the HOD asked me to tell every one of us to give the family of Akintunde a standing ovation and a round of applause. Everybody should please be on their feet for.
We can please do better by celebrating the family of Akintunde. All right. Thank you very much. I just want to inform the staff and the guests, and most especially the awardee, that please do not be in rush. After now, we are moving to the faculty where we will have a mini get-together to have a proper discussion regarding all of this. Thank you very much.
So, in that same vein, please can I have your seat. Thank you so much. Now, quickly, to usher in the host, the HOD of this great department, based on popular request, the music department is going to give us beautiful music in the next 5 minutes, while the HOD will be coming for the vote of thanks. Music department, let's have you. Actually, is going to take the vote of thanks, and all dignitaries will come aboard to take pictures with him.
Please, before our dignitaries you leave, please you come upstairs so that we can take the photo session. I want to sincerely thank every one of us, the guest lecturer, the son, the senior advocate of Nigeria, Bamufi of Ondo Kingdom, Yeyemufi too, in-house, my colleagues, everyone in the hall. I want to say a big thank you for taking time off to be here. Those online, my colleagues, some of them online are Yola Shagan in Los Angeles, Odeyemi in Leeds, and of course so many other persons, Bolu also in Leeds. We all appreciate you. Of course my set also, they are also online now watching this program. We want to say a big thank you, and of course of the greatest effect, articulate effect. We want to thank you sincerely, our students. Okay. So we also want to thank everyone, absolutely everyone, our staff from the department, the non-teaching staff. They've been here since morning. Bello, Mommy Dowu, my secretary, everyone. We all appreciate you. Music department, we thank you for coming. Of course, the vice chancellor in absentia. The appointment and promotion committee is ongoing, and I've seen on our page about 3 professors, two from demography has been announced, and 1 from economics. Again, a big congratulations to every one of us, especially for those of us in the house. Like my Yoga said, Baba Bam retired. In the department, we all are professors now, except the new ones that are just coming up. And so, thank you so much. Thank you, Ma, for taking time off to be here. Thank you all, and I thank you once again.
Please, picture time. Musicals, please. Picture time. What? Okay, please. Important information, please. Yeah. Okay. Tiwa Savage, calm down. Kulu kulu. Because that voice, now, please. The HOD especially requests that all students should remain on their seats for your refreshments. All students should remain on their seats rather for your refreshments. Tiwa Savage Pro Max. Tiwa Savage, let's have it, please.
Right. Please, before we wrap up, please, all the staff and all the awardees, all the guests, please, let's move straight to the faculty. It's not going to take time, just straight to the faculty, please. All the staff, all the guests, and all the awardees. Thank you very much.
Baba no Thank you.